Corman from the Rogers Revue, and I have a fun question to open up with. For Warehouse 13, there's a lot of stuff stored in there, so
Yes.
were you and other cast members ever given the opportunity to pitch some sort of crazy ideas of this would be awesome to go in the warehouse? And if not, this is your chance.
We were. Mine generally were not suitable for work. So, back when I was younger, I probably would have been more anxious to tell you about mine. But I'll keep it PG. Yeah, I mean, honestly, if we had ideas about the show, we were encouraged to, bring them ideas. I know at one point Hitler's microphone was pitched, the one he used at Nuremberg, and didn't make it. I always said that one of the questions was, if you had a artifact, what, if you could make up your own, what would it be? And it would be Janis Joplin's backstage pass from Woodstock. And anybody who had the backstage pass could travel to any concert in time. And that way I could go see all the music that my dad exposed me to when I was a real young kid that I never got to see live. Like the Doors or Led Zeppelin, and early Pink Floyd, like Dark Side of the Moon would have been cool. But as you know, there's always a downside. So if you abuse the backstage pass. Janis she liked whiskey. She liked to drink whiskey, which I think inevitably killed her. If you use it too much, you end up drinking. You become intoxicated by it, and then you end up in rehab with Lindsay Lohan. So that was my pitch. But that Lindsay Lohan was kind of going through it at the time. So who would it be these days? I don't know. Demi Lovato, maybe. Anyway, that's my answer.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So mine's not on the shows, it's for the con itself. So basically you are the mascot really for Dragon Con. Dragon Con is different than other conventions.
Yeah.
So what do you think is so different about Dragon Con that attracts people here and attracts you here?
Yeah, I mean, Dragon Con is such a blessing, has been such a blessing for me. I knew it was special the first time I came. I was so overwhelmed by the amount of people that were here and the environment, just the energy here. And what's different, what sets this apart from, say, San Diego Comic-Con is, this is a fan, it's fan-centric. It's for the fan, and not necessarily like San Diego Comic-Con is for the corporation, and this is for the fans, and it shows. And to be invited back again and again and again and again, now that the show has been canceled, it's lonely out there in LA. Acting can be a very lonely business when you're not actually participating, and there are times when as an actor you're not working, and to be invited back here and to see all the people that have given me a career and supported me, it's just like seeing family, and it gives me a boost, it helps me to keep going, it's been, like I said, it's been a huge blessing in my life.
I was just wondering, what was it like working on Stark Raving Mad? Show I really enjoyed.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Yeah, Stark Raving Mad was a show that was created by Steve Levitan, who he created Just Shoot Me, he created Modern Family, and he has a new show called Reboot that's coming on. That looks really good. Jimmy Burrows, who's a legend in half-hour comedy, directed our pilot. It starred Tony Shalhoub, Neil Patrick Harris, and myself, and we were on back and when NBC was an absolute juggernaut, when Friends was at the top of its game, Frasier was at the top of its game, and I thought that was it. I thought that was going to be, that was going to be my launch. I had so much fun. They say half-hour sitcoms are the best job in town. I mean, Monday you roll in, you have a bagel, you talk to everybody. Tuesday you come in, you do a script reading, you hang out, you maybe put it on its feet. It's like doing a play every week. So, then Friday comes and you do it for a live audience, and there's really nothing like that. I mean, it's and I'm a huge laugh hoe, so it was perfect for me. We won the People's Choice Award for Best New Comedy that year. I think we had 14.5 million viewers per week. But Frasier was at the very top of its game. And then this new show called Who Wants to Be a Millionaire came out, which became a juggernaut. So you had Frasier at the top of its game, then this Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and then Stark Raving Mad was down here. So on Thursday night it went up, down, then back up. And the incoming new president at NBC used it as an excuse to get rid of the show, so he could get his shows on, which, I mean, I get it, it's business. But that one hurt, man. That was a tough one, because I went out and bought a brand new Porsche 911, and then 4 weeks later, our show was canceled. And I was living in a $600 a month apartment, and my car payment was $1,500 a month. Yeah. But such is life, such is the business. But thank you for that question. I love Stark Raving Mad.
Me too.
Thank you.
Okay, clearly I'm a huge fan of Warehouse 13, but I do have
Thank you.
a question related to some of the shows, and then moving forward. So there were a few crossover episodes between Warehouse and Eureka, which one of my other
Yes.
highlights of sci-fi
Colin.
TV shows. And now that the multiverse is a huge thing these days, if there were a Warehouse 13 multiverse or a crossover with anything that's happening now, what would be the favorite thing that you would want to see?
I mean, it would have to be Game of Thrones, I would think. Or what's the new? It's Lord of the Thrones or
House of Dragons.
House of Dragons. House of Dragons. House of Dragons or Mike. There's a new show called Mike about Mike Tyson that I like. I'd like Pete to pal around with Mike Tyson. That could be a lot of fun. Let's see, what else? The thing is, I don't really watch TV shows that much, so I only know a few. I generally watch cop shows, like the real 48 hour or first 48, stuff like that. but yeah, like, House of Dragons, is that what it's called? Yeah, that would be cool. I would love to see Pete in with a sword, I'm sure. Well, again, he had a sword in I think the first season, which was very dangerous. So, yeah, I think that would be it. Thank you.
All right, what inspires you for the t-shirts? Like, what
Oh.
brings that out into you, or out of you?
Wow, cool, thank you. That's a good question. Well, I was an art major in school, in college. That was the only reason that I could really give to go away and pursue my education, and wrestling. I wrestled in college, and I kind of, my art fell away. I got a degree in business communications instead of art. And when Warehouse 13 became successful, my wife was like, "Hey, you should start working on your art again. Get back into your art." And I started drawing again, and then I designed these T-shirts as a crew gift. The purple shirt was for our crew gift, and then I came to this con, and I was talking about it or something, and somebody was like, "God, man, I'd love to have one of those," and I was like, "Really?" Because when I was a kid, I loved Maui and Sons. They were like a surf design, and I always thought like I would start my own T-shirt company and do my own surf designs and stuff like that. And then I was like, oh, well, this is kind of what I've always wanted to do, is be able to design T-shirts, and so that's kind of how it started. And I wanted to design a shirt that brought the fan into the show. Like, I did a Regent T-shirt, so like anybody who wore the T-shirt was a Regent, and then I did a Artie and Pete's cookies, and so, it kind of, so that it crossed over, so that, my whole thing is like, when my manager used to say to me, "Eddie, don't, always, you're the star, so you want to stay separate from the fan. You want them to be looking up at you," because I always wanted to be on the same level, I always considered myself to be on the same level, I'm just the person that happens to be on the show. And I didn't take his advice. I want everybody else. I just want us all to be on the same level, and so this was my way of saying, you are part of us, we are part of you, I don't know. This year's shirt is a tribute to my dad. It's one of the shirts that I wore during the show. I'm from North Canton, Ohio. My dad and I both went to North Canton Hoover together, and I wore the shirt on the show. So I changed North Canton to Warehouse 13, and then I have this panel. It's for my dad, and my dad passed away in March, and so this is on the back, and then my dad and I always had a deep appreciation for our veterans, so I put the battle flag on the shoulder, and it says WH13 on there. But yeah, this year is a special design, tribute to my pop, who was so proud of me, so proud of my work on Warehouse 13, and so yeah, I mean, as long as people keep buying them, I'll keep designing them. I love to do it, and it keeps me motivated.
Sorry for you lost.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you.
Just blank on what my question was. Is there any project or that you've worked on that you don't get to talk about a lot, or people don't ask you about, that you like to talk about?
I just directed my first film. Things have changed a lot in Hollywood. Well, particularly for me, I'm now older. I'm older, so I've kind of aged out of the target demographic for ad buyers. So it's been harder for me to get a job. So I kind of have stepped outside of the Hollywood production realm and have been working with a small company that called JC Films, and I did a few little parts for him, and then he was like, "Man, you're so great with the actors. Would you direct one of these films?" I was flattered, and we're just on our last cut, and I just saw the third cut, and then we have a fourth cut, and then we're gonna lock, and man, that was exciting. I mean, for the first time in a long time, I was really excited about the process. I love working with other actors, young actors, or actors that are just starting, and when they're having a problem, and then if I can help them kind of get to where they need to be as an actor, seeing the lights come on for them and being a part of that is really motivating for me, and so I hope I get to do that some more. The film's called Miracle at Manchester. It's based on a true story, and when it's ready, I'll put it up on my social media so everybody can check it out. It's just a really nice story. And I invited one of my friends over who's a jaded actress just like me. She and I have been friends for 20 some years, and the movie, she watched it with us, and when it ended, she looked over at me and she goes, "Oh, really good movie." And so that's how I know, because otherwise she'd have been like, "Oh gosh, that was really nice." She's like my sister, So to have her turn to me and look and kind of look me in the eye and kind of go, "Oh, wow, you pulled it off." That was a big compliment from her. So hopefully, if you guys check it out, you'll feel the same.
Excited to see it. Thank you.
Thank you.
We got time for one more question.
Okay.
Does anyone have anything pressing? I guess you were talking about loving to connect with the fans and being down at that level. So as far as DragonCon is concerned, you've got a lot of obligations here, but in your spare time for this weekend, what is the one thing you're really looking forward to exploring at DragonCon?
I mean, I have like everyone else here, I guess I have a tradition that on Saturday night, I'll come down and just be a fly on the wall down here. I usually will just come down and sit by the wall and just people watch. I love to people watch. I just it's kind of, I guess, one of the reasons why I'm an actor. I love to see people in their natural environment, and just how they interact with one another, and watching the one awkward person kind of figure out and navigate how they're gonna, and you can see who's the out, I just sociology, psychology. So I really like to people watch. I love checking out the costumes here and the creativity, and I just love seeing people happy, because I just want some of it to kind of, come into me, and hope that it comes into me, and again, gosh, man, we need that, don't we? I mean, everybody needs this weekend. It's a great time for people to just blow off steam and be who they are, and kind of just have fun. It's think crime actually goes down in this city when people come here because, you know, there's so much positive energy. I also try and make it by over and look at the comic books. I collect Marvel comic books, so I'll probably stop over and get some comic books. And then I love hanging out with my friend Lisa, who, you know, she's one of the blessings of conventions. You know, I've made a lifelong friend and a bunch of, like I came down here last night and it was, you know, again, it's just like, this is my family, you know. I mean, they actually had, I was the Grand Poobah at the parade one year. What was it the Grand Marshal or whatever? I mean, this wasn't supposed to be my life, you know. I grew up in Ohio, you know, drinking beer out of a boot and smoking weed, and I think I was voted most likely to end up in jail. And so the fact that I'm not, and that I'm here and I get to experience this with everybody is, you know, it's a dream come true. This is my favorite weekend of the year, every year. You know, football season starts and I get to come here and be with you guys. So, I guess what I should say, you know, I'm 22 years clean and sober, so that's why I don't, you know, again, you know, I should be in jail, dead, or in an institution, but I get to come here and participate in life. So.
Thank you.